All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about something called the fighter mentality. It's this incredibly powerful mental framework that you see elite performers use to just crush it. This is what separates the good from the truly great, not just in sports, but, well, in pretty much every part of life.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. When you show up for anything, a meeting at work, a session at the gym, even just a personal goal you've set, are you there just to, participate, or are you there to dominate? Seriously, how you answer that question says a whole lot about your mindset.
To really get this, we're going to look at a framework that a top coach uses to break down performers. Because it turns out not all effort is the same. There are these really distinct levels of commitment, and they're what separate the people who do okay from the ones who are legendary.
So here it is, broken down into 4 levels. At the very bottom, you've got the people who just turn up. They do the bare minimum, they check the box, and that's it. Then, a step up from that, you have the people who compete. They want to be the best person on their team or in their group. Next up, you have the people who train to win. I mean, every single thing they do is geared towards that victory. But then, at the very, very top, you have this rare breed, the ones who train to dominate. They work so hard, so relentlessly, that by the time game day comes around, winning is just what happens. It's almost inevitable.
Okay, so how do you climb that ladder, right? How do you make that jump from just competing to absolutely dominating? Well, it's not just about more reps or more hours. The biggest thing that holds most people back isn't physical at all, it's mental. It's a simple but profound lack of clarity about what they're even fighting for.
And that's where this next part comes in. To get that clarity, to find the kind of fuel you need to dominate, you have to start by answering 3 simple but incredibly powerful questions.
First up, and this one is absolutely crucial, what do you want? It sounds so basic, right? But you'd be shocked how many people just float through life without ever really sitting down and figuring this out. They're fuzzy on their goals, on their real ambitions, on the kind of life they actually want to build.
Okay, so once you know what you want, the next question gets real. It forces you to look at the price tag. How badly do you want it? Because here's the truth. Being the best at anything comes at a huge cost. It means more work, more commitment, and dealing with way more pressure than anyone else.
And that brings us to the final and most intense question of all. How much are you willing to suffer? Now, this isn't about being a victim. No. This is about sacrifice. Gold medal champions, they suffer every single day. They make massive sacrifices, and they push through unbelievable hardship to get to where they're going.
So once you have that clarity, once you've answered those questions, everything comes down to a choice you make every single day. When things get tough, are you going to have the mindset of a fighter, or are you going to fall into that victim trap?
There's this really powerful example from someone who, after a Parkinson's diagnosis, found that even the simplest things became a huge challenge. And his motto really speaks to this choice. He has to decide every single morning, am I going to be a fighter today, or am I going to be a victim? It's just a perfect real-world example of this whole idea in action.
Let's break it down. The victim mentality. It's all about making excuses so you can retreat back to your comfort zone. Oh, I'm too tired. It's just too hard. Nobody likes me. It's about blaming everything and everyone else. But the fighter takes responsibility. They see the challenges, sure, but they step into that challenge zone, and they take action anyway. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? When you're really pushing your limits, there are going to be 1,000 excuses to stop. 1,000. But the fighter understands that none of them, not a single one, is a good enough reason to quit.
And here's what's so important to get. This fighter mentality, this attitude, it's almost always more important than raw natural talent. I love this quote because it sums it all up so perfectly. Look, your genetics, your background, they deal you a certain hand of cards. That's true, but they don't decide the outcome of the game. How you play that hand, the attitude you bring to the table, that's what really matters.
Just think about pro sports for a second. In the Premier League, you'll find tons of players who, if you're being honest, are maybe a B when it comes to raw talent. They're not the most gifted athletes out there, but they are an A+ for attitude. And that relentless fighter attitude is what got them to the top, blowing past rivals who were probably way more talented, but just didn't have the same drive.
And you know what the most empowering part of all this is? Unlike your talent, your attitude is a choice. It's something anybody can have. You can literally wake up tomorrow morning and decide, today, I'm going to have a better attitude. It is 100% within your control.
And that's the thing, right? Because attitude is a choice. These ideas, they're not just for pro athletes. They apply to every single one of us, in what you could call the arena of life.
You know, race day is the fun part. The cameras are on, the crowd is going wild, but what you don't see is that same champion all alone at 6 in the morning grinding it out in the dark. That ability to show up for yourself when absolutely no one is watching, that is where success is built.
And you might not think of yourself this way, but we are all high performers. We have to step up every single day and face these massive pressures, earning a living, keeping our relationships strong, taking on new responsibilities, raising kids. I mean, these are our arenas.
So the big takeaway here, the whole point, is that the lessons from high-performance sports, they translate directly to the challenges we all face in our everyday lives. That fighter mentality, it's a tool for all of us.
And when it comes right down to it, it's all about your own personal power. Every day, with every choice you make, with the attitude you bring, you are the author. You're writing your own life story. You are holding the pen.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with that question. You are writing your story, right now, today. What's this chapter going to be about? Is it going to be about excuses, or is it going to be about action? What will you write today?